What's up, y'all? Let me know if you guys can hear me in the chat. Let me know if you guys can hear me in the chat. We are in the building. Okay. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Listen, y'all, I got my sunglasses on at the moment because your boy is a little bit hungover from yesterday. Let me tell you, celebrating my birthday, but we are in here today. We got some things to talk about, y'all. We got a couple of things to actually talk about and digest. And we're going to be talking about Tamar Braxton, and we're going to be talking about Nick Cannon today. Now, for those of you guys who missed it, I think it was not yesterday, but the day before yesterday, we had a very, very in-depth, hour-long conversation about this whole situation with Nick Cannon. And we're going to follow up on that today because we got some news, and I'm going to do another live right after this live. So, because there was just so much to cover and I didn't want to try to cover it all and make an extra long video. Thank you guys for the birthday wishes. I really, really appreciate your love and support, especially for the channel. And I want to go ahead and sort of stage dive into what we need to talk about. So good morning to everybody who just joined the chat. Let me know where you guys are watching from. And let me know, how things are in the community that you're in. So let's just go ahead and stage dive into what we need to talk about. Tamar Braxton, y'all. Tamar Braxton is going through it right now. And before I even jumped on this live, I had to literally kind of get myself together because I wanted to make sure that we handle this with the level of sensitivity that we as much sensitivity as we possibly can. And I'm going to give you guys the story right now. So for those of you guys who don't know, singer and TV personality Tamar Braxton was reportedly taken to a hospital following what is suspected to have been a suicide attempt at a Los Angeles hotel. TMZ reports the law enforcement sources say that they were made aware of an attempted suicide at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel following a 911 call at 10 p.m. on Thursday. The Los Angeles Police Department confirmed that a 43-year-old woman had a medical emergency that has been labeled a possible OD. Now, when help arrived at the scene, Braxton was found unconscious inside of her room. Her boyfriend, David Adefeso, told authorities that she might have OD'd on unspecified pills and alcohol. He added that she had been upset earlier that day and had allegedly openly talked about taking her own life. There was no note at the scene, and she was rushed to the hospital nearby. She is currently in stable condition and is under 24-hour watch at the hospital. This is what the blast is reporting, but that she is still unconscious. Okay. Now, prior to the news of this, Tamar and David said on Thursday that the latest episode of their YouTube show, Coupled in Quarantine, had been postponed. At the time, they did not reveal why they called off the latest episode. Now, what I want you guys to also note is that, and the reason why I posted that, the screenshot that you guys see right now, is because Tamar had actually been, from what I'm understanding, she had been shocked by the release of the trailer for her new show on WeTV called Get Your Life. Okay. Apparently she did not know. This is what the sources are saying. Okay. I don't necessarily know how true this is, but apparently she found out sort of when the rest of the world did that the trailer for her show Get Your Life on WeTV, which premieres on Thursday, July 30th at 10 p.m. on WeTV, was coming out. Now, let me give you guys a bit of a synopsis for it. It says, after nearly losing everything, including herself, Tamar is determined to turn her life around and take matters into her own hands by sharing her truth in a revealing new docuseries that follows her every move. However, nothing can prepare Tamar for the most epic journey of her life. In a series of shocking revelations and extreme breakthroughs, it is the most traumatic side of Tamar Braxton that we've ever seen, as she vows to show the good, the bad, and the ugly. Now, cameras continue rolling during Tamar's most vulnerable hours as she invites love back into her life with her new boyfriend, David, relaunches her music career, navigates co-parenting with her ex, and battles the pressure to reconcile and reunite her family. Now, I want to give you guys a little bit of information about the trailer. Obviously, I'm not going to show it here. Some networks are okay with you showing trailers on YouTube and some are not. And so I just want to be respectful to WeTV and not actually show the trailer on the channel because I just feel like it's not the thing to do. But I will put it down in the description of this video. In fact, it's probably already there. I tried to make sure that I put all of that information in there earlier. But what I want to say is this: the trailer is now, from a viewer's perspective, the trailer is lit. The trailer looks lit. It actually looks just as good, if not better, than a trailer for Braxton Family Values. And there are parts of the trailer that look like Tamar is like not really behind, like she's not really standing firmly behind what the producers are wanting to capture on the show. And they break the fourth wall and everything. And she gets into it with producers. I think David gets into it with producers. And she's really upset, it seems like, in the trailer about the direction that the show is taking. She's saying that she doesn't want to be fighting, with people on the real. She doesn't want to be fighting with her sisters. And she doesn't want that aspect of her life anymore. And so it's interesting to me because it looks like she's partnering with Mona Scott Young, who even makes an appearance on the show to sort of talk Tamar down off what seems to be like the ledge in the actual trailer. I'm telling y'all, the trailer looks deep and it looks like it's going to be a really, really good series. The problem is, I just feel like Tamar is in the exact same situation that she was in when she was on Braxton Family Values, wherein I feel like the network understands that Tamar seems to make for a great reality TV villain. And I hate to say that, but I feel like they have labeled her that, and that's what they want to see more of. So I don't know. I don't know how that's going to play out for her. And I don't know if this had anything to do with it, but this is what the people are saying. Okay. And as for more evidence to the fact that something was going on, I want you guys to take a look at this. I had a look because I wanted to see if there was any more evidence as to what sort of might have led her to do this, because she just seemed like she was in such a good place. You know what I'm saying? And you're right. Oh, before I get to what I'm going to show you, David said something to this effect in the trailer. He said he didn't want some demonic thing in his house. And I'm not necessarily sure what he was talking about. And I paid attention to that in the trailer. I'm telling you guys, really watch the trailer. It is very, very deep. Please watch it. It's in the link in the description down below. If you guys, want to, after you jump off of here, take a look at that. I would say, like, let's support Tamar as much as we possibly can. Keep her in your prayers, but take a look at the trailer because I think it'll give you an idea of sort of the path that I'm taking to try to follow the clues to see what really might have happened. You know what I mean? But I'm going to share something with you guys that I don't know if you have seen yet. And that is a look at her Twitter. Okay. Now, on the top of her Twitter, if you guys will notice here, she has put Tamar, quote, slave Braxton. So in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, I'm hearing that this was just updated yesterday, because at one point I could have swore it said Tamar Thug Braxton, but now it's been changed to slave Braxton. So I'm not necessarily sure if she's trying to communicate that she feels like she's a slave to the network and maybe she can't get out from under their control. I don't know if you guys remember Moniece Slaughter from Love and Hip Hop Hollywood, sort of saying some of the same sort of things about, VH1 and not being able to get out of the contract. And it was for her mental health and stability. It seems like, Tamar may be experiencing the same thing. You know what I mean? So I don't necessarily know if they're correlated, but I almost feel like we can sort of make that same correlation, if you guys understand what I'm saying. Okay. Now I want to show you guys one other thing that we want to look at real quick. Give me 1 second, guys. And that is Tracy Braxton has basically posted on Instagram to keep my family in your prayers. That is exactly what we're going to do at this point in time. We're just going to keep Tamar in our prayers, because it seems so odd to me that she would do this when she has, you know, her young son. She's got not one, but 2 television shows airing at the same time. That's pretty big. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a big accomplishment, you know, to have 2 shows on 2 different networks at the same doggone time. Like, you know, you don't really see that a lot. So to me, it seems like, you know, everything was all good, but you just never know what people are experiencing in the background. Because just a few weeks ago, she was being dragged by K. Michelle, and all of this stuff was being aired out that happened allegedly years ago. And all of a sudden, she's wrapped back up into that. And even in the trailer, you will hear David say something to the fact, I don't know if he said he didn't want something demonic in his house, or he didn't want Vince in his house. There was something else that he said about that. He didn't want Vince to walk through those doors or something. I can't really, you guys have to watch the trailer, dissect it as well, and let me know what you guys think. We're definitely going to be covering the show on this channel, because I mean, I absolutely love and adore Tamar. I think that she is a phenomenal talent, not only a phenomenal singer, but having met her in person, I had the opportunity to DJ her a New Year's party at her house when she was with Vince. And, you know, she was awesome. Even went out to dinner with her when she was celebrating another friend's birthday, and she paid for the meal. She was so nice, so sweet. And so it's just interesting to me that you just never know what people are going through in the background. You just don't know. So I would just like to caution us all to lift up Tamar and the family in prayer. I think it was, this was it. It was when they brought the medium into the house for this 4th scene. I think that's what David was referring to when he said demonic. Thank you, I think it's Tiffania. Thank you for that. So yeah, I don't know. It's going to be an interesting season, nonetheless. And I just hope that, I don't know why she agreed to do another show with WeTV. And I don't know if maybe that was a contractual obligation that she had to fulfill. But I can tell you that when you get into those types of contracts with networks, it can definitely be a challenge to get out of. And maybe this show was just a way to sort of fulfill the contractual obligation in order for her to finally leave. With that being said, y'all keep her in the prayers. Y'all, you know, just continue to lift her up, you know, because we just don't know what the issue is behind the scenes. The next thing I want to talk about is Nick Cannon. So, you know, I told you guys on Wednesday, we had a lengthy discussion about it after I talked about it on the sort of news show. I sat down and I said, let's go live and let's really dive into this Nick Cannon situation. Now, thank you, G-Listed, for that super chat and for the birthday wishes. Thank you all for that. So I want to talk about this whole Nick Cannon situation, because he has done a complete 180 with this whole situation, with everything that he said about the Jewish community. He has definitely changed his tune altogether. Now, for those of you who may have missed it, let me just give you guys a little bit of the play-by-play. He had Professor Griff, who was once part of Public Enemy, on his Canon Class YouTube channel. Now, Professor Griff had been sort of a big controversial figure for some things that he said years ago to the Washington Times about the Jewish community. And one of those being a conspiracy that the Jewish community is in control of Hollywood. So Nick Cannon, you know, and he had a frank discussion about it, and Nick gave his point of view about the situation and some historical context that he believed to be true. Now, from that point, you know, people started dragging him online, and Viacom ended up firing him. From that firing, you know, Nick basically wrote a very scathing piece on, I think it was Facebook, about Viacom, sort of exposing them and outing them, alleging that they are trying to keep the black man down, that they are trying to silence him, that they were not going to air any advertising that had anything to do with George Floyd or Breonna Taylor, when we've all been fighting for, you know, justice for those two individuals and a whole lot more. So he really went in on this situation. Now, Diddy even went so far as to offer Nick Cannon a home for Wild 'N Out, which is owned by, well, not owned by, but it is under the umbrella of MTV, which is under Viacom, right? So with Nick Cannon being fired, it was under question as to whether or not, Nick would actually be able to maintain ownership of Wild 'N Out, but he is demanding full ownership. And in that scathing piece, he basically demanded that, and he demanded an apology from Viacom. Well, it looks like now Nick Cannon has definitely changed his tune in a major way, and people didn't really like it. They really dragged him for it. Now, when I talked to you guys about it, I basically said that, you have to, you can speak whatever you feel like to be the truth, right? But I think sometimes celebrities, because they're in the entertainment industry, which is run by big corporations, they kind of have to be careful with what they say, how they say it, and when they say it, right? There's a difference between what people say, as kitchen talk conversation, and there's a different thing when people publicize it. And if you say it in a public format, you kind of sometimes have to be okay with the blowback that you might get as a result of it, because that's just how life works, right? So he stood behind what he said initially, and I felt like a lot of people in the community were standing behind him as well. Well, now he is definitely singing a different tune, and I'm going to go ahead and read you guys what he is having to say at this point in time, because it's a total 180 from everything that he had said earlier. So he first started his statements with, first and foremost, I extend my deepest and most sincere apologies to my Jewish sisters and brothers for the hurtful and divisive words that came out of my mouth during my interview with Richard Griffin. Can y'all see that? I don't know if you can or not. It's kind of small, but I'll keep reading it just so you guys can know what he said. He says, they reinforce the worst stereotypes of a proud and magnificent people, and I feel ashamed of the uninformed and naive place that those words came from. The video of this interview has since been removed. So he has removed the interview, but you guys, I placed my video of from my unfiltered channel where I detail everything that he said, pretty much for the most controversial statements from his piece in that video. So you guys can check that out. It's in the link in the description. So you guys just can know for your own knowledge. If you kind of missed what he said, you guys can sort of review it there. Then he went on to say, while the Jewish experience encompasses more than 5,000 years, and there is so much I have yet to learn, I have had at least a minor history lesson over the past few days, and to say that it is eye-opening would be a vast understatement. I want to express my gratitude to the rabbis, community leaders, and institutions who reached out to me to help enlighten me instead of chastising me. I want to ensure my Jewish friends, new and old, that this is only the beginning of my education. I am committed to deeper connections, more profound learning, and strengthening the bond between our two cultures today and every day going forward. I just had the blessed opportunity to converse with Rabbi Abraham Cooper, director of Global Social Action. My first words to my brother was, I apologize for the hurt I caused the Jewish community. On my podcast, I use words and reference literature I assume to be factual to uplift my community. Instead turned out to be a hateful propaganda and stereotypical rhetoric that pained other community. For this, I am deeply sorry, but now together we can write a new chapter of healing. Morning radio family. Okay, so then this was later after that, those earlier tweets. He says, morning radio family, I've decided to take some time away from my radio show so I can commit myself to deeper, more thorough reflection and education. I will use this time to establish an action plan towards real, impactful change and advocacy aimed at bringing people together. I continue to express my gratitude to the rabbis, community leaders, and institutions who have reached out to help enlighten me. Their input and friendship will help me as I further commit myself to more profound learning and towards strengthening the bond between the Black and Jewish cultures every day going forward. And then he says, stay tuned. This is just the beginning. Now, following that is when people on social media began to drag him, because people felt like, some people in the Black community felt like, well, why go back on what you had said earlier? Because you said what you meant. And to some people, for some people, they were standing behind the comments. So then after getting dragged for quite some time, he says, I hurt an entire community and it pained me to my core. I thought it couldn't get any worse. Then I watched my own community turn on me and call me a sellout for apologizing. Good night. Enjoy Earth. Y'all can have this planet. I'm out. I think it's a lot to unpack here. You know, I felt very strongly. I think that just again, working in the entertainment industry, I really, when I was watching it, I was like, this is going to be, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. And then to sort of see it unfold, I somewhat had an idea that he would have to at some point apologize, or that he would go back and give an in-depth apology, because to be quite honest with you, the decision to make that sort of stance, I had a feeling it was going to hit him in the pockets. And I think because it hit him in the pockets, I think that's why he went back and basically changed his tune. You know what I mean? I do also think that you can also be, it's probably best that he just sit out of the spotlight for a while. I will say that. I think anytime you have an incident of this magnitude, like, you just need to just take a second. Thank you, Jacinda. I appreciate you. I think that you should just take a second and step back. And I think that there is nothing wrong with him apologizing. I feel like, do what you feel like you need to do. Okay. But it'll be interesting to see if he's able to bounce back from this. I understand that people feel very strongly on one side or another with this situation, but I want to ask you guys this question. What do you guys think that he should do next? Do you guys think that he should just sort of stay out of the spotlight? This is probably the most, I think, one of the most honest and real comments that I think anyone can make in regards to this situation. If that's your belief, we all have an obligation to stand up for our beliefs, but we also have to understand the repercussions and the consequences that come as a result of it. Bottom line. Thank you for the super chat. Can't see who did it because the chat is moving fast. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Here's what I will say. Thank you, G Listed. Here's what I'm going to say about this situation. You guys know that I don't believe in canceling people. I believe that he's in a place now where he's trying to maneuver through this. We're all human at the end of the day. I feel like there's a genuineness there that I sensed in his apology. And I think in light of, and this is why I put these two stories together, I think in light of what we've seen with Tamar, I hope it allows us to be a lot more sensitive to Nick Cannon as we move forward in this whole situation, because I understand that when people are in the spotlight like this, and even when they're not in the spotlight, mental issues are real, right? And I don't mean like, I'm not calling either one of them crazy or nothing like that. And I'm not saying that about anybody with a mental illness. I'm just saying mental health. I guess that's a better term. Mental health is just really, really important. And I think we have to watch people, and we have to watch the signs for when something is going on that happens to them and it impacts them in such a major way. So I just feel like, honestly, the best thing that we could do for Nick at this point in time is to keep him in prayer. Thank you guys so much for the super chats. Sherry, Catherine, I appreciate you. Cirilla, Marlo Vines, I really, really appreciate you guys. The G Listed, Yaya, all of them. I really, really appreciate you guys. So I want to know, I think that's what all we can do, Sheila, is to really pray for them. I honestly think that's all we can do. Pray for them and try to figure out a way that we can all move forward in a way that is non-judgmental and in a way that promotes understanding. You know what I mean? So anyway, I wanted to bring these two stories to you guys today. I have another video that I'm going to do in probably about 15 to 20 minutes. I just need to take a quick break. We're going to come back with another live because I have another sort of batch of stories that I want to talk to you about. A little less intense, but there's still, you know, entertainment news and dealing with reality TV like we always do. So thank you guys for tuning into the channel. I will be back with the second video in probably about, like I said, 20 to 30 minutes. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, like this video if you can, share it if you want to. Thank you, Amber Myers. I appreciate you. You guys are awesome. And thank you guys for being so super positive and supportive about these stories. And hopefully other people who watch this as the day goes on, we can influence and empower them to continue the chain of prayer for both of these two individuals. All right. So make sure you guys keep it locked to the channel, and I will see you in the next video.